Hello guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome back. It's Saturday, 12th of November, almost half of the month, and we had a busy week in the markets. For me, I believe that we have created the bottom on the indices for the year, not for this bearish market, but for the year. I believe we have created the bottom, same way that we have created maybe the top for the dollar. As predicted, as I was looking for more dollar weakness this week with the CPI, and that actually occurred, just as we talked about last Tuesday during the last live stream. Today, Saturday, I usually do my weekly analysis, so I'm going to go through the assets that I usually look at. It goes from Forex, S&P and NASDAQ, and then again to the major FX pairs that I actually look at. So I start usually with the dollar index, and then we can go through some Bitcoin. We can look at how the movements that have occurred during this crazy week with the FTX situation. So if you are new, don't forget to subscribe, ask any questions in the chat. Any key levels, any key zones that maybe you are looking at, we can take a look at it together. And yeah, main point is just to find good opportunities for next week, or maybe what we should expect, or what may price do next week. Yeah. Welcome on board. Let's get started. So dollar index, right? Yep, big week, big drop on the dollar. Where were we at the beginning of the week? I think we were somewhere in here. That's where price was beginning of the week. Somewhere in here. Yeah, then we initially respected this supply level. We went down, we broke the lows. And actually breaking these lows was, for me, the big clue that that dollar wanted to go further down, right? So before that, and the week before or 2 weeks before, when you created the previous low, price had actually reacted from kind of the extreme of this move that originated this move to the upside. It reacted from that demand zone, and meanwhile it went up, reacted from here, but breaking these lows, I think it was... Not was Monday, it was Tuesday, one of those 2 days. And we managed to break the lows the same time that we broke the highs on the euro dollar and Aussie dollar. So basically these 3 assets that I noticed the break of the lows, for me, it gave me the clue of what I was looking for then on Thursday for the CPI, right? So even though we broke the lows on Tuesday, price still kind of retraced. So we had taken the supply already on Monday. Price went down, and then created a little bit more of a barrier in there until we had the final fake out into the supply level that was left behind in there, right? Supply that actually managed to break this low, price moved down, and now we have left this level behind. It was quite similar actually on the euro dollar as well. The zone it was similar as well on dollar CAD and dollar franc Swiss, I believe. It was the same kind of level where price actually reacted to before the big sell-off during the CPI, right? CPI came out better than expected, which the market completely overreacted, or there was a big reaction to the indices to the upside. We had NASDAQ finishing with I think 7% on Thursday. Yeah, yesterday it was more of a just 1% on NASDAQ, but yes, around 7% NASDAQ. I think 55% on S&P. It was on the biggest days that we have seen, even though the dollar was one of the biggest drops since 2009, I believe, dollar weakness, just in a single day on Thursday. So yes, that's what we had. Big sell-off, and the continuation to downside was more than expected. I was not really looking for anything in here. I'm actually looking for price to continue. I could see some reaction here, and I think actually there was maybe something for a moment. But then, honestly, there's maybe something in here that price could hold it, but I'm looking for price to go further down. I've been looking at this engulf to downside for a long time, and I believe price wants to go further down and maybe have some kind of reaction around this 104. That has been already my call for the last few weeks. When you started shifting from here, that was been my call, right? So I've been predicting all these moves in here since we created this wall that I was looking for the move to the downside. Reality is that actually price never really got close, not nearly touched the zone that I was looking for, but it did fake out this high in there. Apparently that was enough. Yeah, next level that I'm looking for is somewhere in here with the potential for price to even continue to go a little bit further down. Even in here, there's maybe something a little bit closer more to this double low that you can see in here. There's maybe something in there as well that price can bounce, or even somewhere in here. But yeah, mostly below this double low or triple low, I'm looking for maybe some reaction on the dollar. At this point, any reaction that I'll be looking for on the dollar is just maybe a little bit of reaction towards to the next level. Maybe you're going to continue to the downside until I start noticing maybe some proper change, right? So I want to start noticing when we start having some highs being broken. So as price is going down, when we start having some highs a little bit being broken on the way down, that may shows a little bit more of then a deeper retrace, maybe. For example, maybe towards to this level whenever we do that, or towards to this level whenever we do that. So yes, until we start having some highs breaking previous highs, I'll be just cautious with any reversal. So I'm a natural reversal trader, so I'm not really a trend continuation. So that's why I'm kind of looking for some reversals when I see price going down like this. And the way I try to approach the market is I'll try to find maybe some fresh levels that maybe were left behind as price was going up, and I'll try to see if there's any good reaction there. Then I will get the approach, and if there's a good opportunity there, I'll look for a small scalp at this point. If by any chance we start noticing that big shift, like for example what happened in here, yeah, then I will be open to have bigger trades or longer trades if I do catch then the extremes in there. On the other hand, if price does retrace a little bit, then maybe I can actually look for a counter trend in here. It's a smaller counter trend in the direction of the bigger trend. And that's usually what I try to look more as if I was about to say, my trend continuation setups are a little bit more focused on that regard. When there is a good retrace, so it's a counter trend trade on the shorter time frame, but in favor of the bigger trend in the bigger picture. Yes, at this point, yesterday as well was bank holiday in the US, so I don't know how much volatility there was in there, but you can see that price has been just going down, a little bit of a compression, nothing much so far. Maybe it's worth to actually draw some line in there. Second. Yeah, maybe it's worth just to be aware of the key level that maybe price wants to retrace to. Yeah, for example, at this point, this is the high where price kind of paused after the big drop. These levels for me are important, and as you continue to go into the lower time frame, there's maybe a little bit a different story. As you can see in this case, price pausing here. It looks like it never touched this supply level in there, so that becomes a really important zone. So this supply now becomes interesting because this is where in theory price should have retraced to, but it didn't. So there's a little bit of space in here to be filled in the future, picking out this high. But before that, there's even I think there's even this supply that is still in there, so price can still somehow touch this level first, because this high also never touched that one. And you keep going like this. So at this point I could see, for example, maybe in the future, whenever price retraces, let's pretend that we are on the right side in here, price could go up, could touch this level first, have some kind of good reaction, and maybe yes, then maybe fake out this level. But we'll see how it's going to be played out in the future. And of course, the level of support resistance that aligned with the previous level of support resistance actually above this line. So again, this is another zone that maybe price can go to. So all of a sudden you have kind of maybe 3 levels that maybe price can actually react from. Of course, then we have the overall supply that was created during the drop of the CPI. But all these levels are important. Of course, if you go to 1 minute, there's maybe even something else in there. Take a look at this trading view. The moment they create that feature to when you change time frame for price to stay on the same spot, that will help a lot. Save some time instead of always then to have to scroll back to see where we are. Yeah, somewhere in here that might be a good decision point. You can see a little bit of this indecision between these 2 red candles aligned with the previous level of support resistance. We have this supply and this one. Yeah, this one was shy as well, never touch it. So yes, we may have all those, a little bit of these levels in here. And of course, as you go down, just continue to look for the next ones that are maybe still fresh. But of course, as price starts to shift, more often than not, it will go to the extremes. And the extremes are maybe the beginning of this level in here, right? Price then is may not just pause in the middle, it actually wants to force it and eventually go to the extreme of the move. For example, this level in here can be interesting as well. This is where we had the previous low. We created this supply now above it, below. So somewhere in there can be interesting as well. Yeah. Why am I getting spammed with these guys? How can I remove these guys, man? Hide the user on this channel. Yep. Goodbye. Thank you. This is not a dating channel, man. Yeah, so this is too much of a time frame. Usually what we do today is more of a bigger picture. So let's take a look into it, right? On Monday, I'm expecting, again, a little bit similar to maybe what usually I expect, which is if we have a strong Friday, I expect Mondays to kind of follow through in the same direction. Maybe another continuation since we had bank holiday in the US this Friday. Maybe that's going to be the continuation. Maybe a little bit in here below this low, there can be something, and then eventually price can just continue to go down. So maybe some reaction first during the London session, then maybe during the US, we're just going to continue. We're just going to continue to move to the lower time frame. So yeah, overall, aside from expecting that on Mondays, is also, of course, if price is still a little bit far away from the levels from those extremes, that's another indication that maybe yes, we are going to have maybe that continuation on Monday, following a strong day on Friday, right? You can see how the daily candle was on Friday and how the daily candle was on Thursday. Yep, next level. Literally, I'm going to be looking at this 104. It's a little bit in alignment, I believe, with the previous level that we had in here, this high from 2016-17, and it looks like that the demand in alignment with that on this weekly time frame, weekly, it may be still fresh. This low never touched it, so I'm going to be looking for some reaction in there. Yeah, but this level maybe actually can be interesting as well. 105 something. I think is in alignment with that one that I mentioned before. Yep, it's a little bit in alignment, so could see some reaction here on Monday, and then eventually maybe price to continue to the downside. Yeah, that's the dollar index, right? So the move has been done. All this shift from kind of buyers to sellers, all this accumulation here, or distribution, whatever name you want to call it, has been completed. It's actually a really nice price action inside here to analyze it and how to start predicting reversals, right? If you want to analyze all this PA inside here to study it, what kind of opportunities and confirmation, more important, the confirmation that price has been giving beforehand in order to let us know that it was about to eventually turn. Like what clues could you have collected to see that price wanted to eventually turn? Like I mentioned, walls being broken on the way up. Look at this spike in here, right? Breaking at least these two lows. That could be already a good indication, right? Why are you breaking this? Why are you breaking this demand? Not just respecting it, continue. Why are you actually going all the way down to collect the last orders that you had in here? Literally, basically cleaning everything in here, and then price could just follow through. So yeah, those are just a few of them. That's yes, this is actually quite nice to analyze it, and most of the others as well, right? Dollar CAD as well, it's a nice one to look at it, just to analyze it, how price shifts and changes from kind of bullish momentum to the bearish momentum, right? A little bit similar to what we had in here when we kind of created these lows in 2021. Everything that has occurred in here as well. Yeah, I also made this prediction when price was about to shift with this engulf to the upside in here, indicating that prices want to go higher, faking out this double low in there, and now the PA then you can see in here is also beautiful. All the confirmation that you have in there, breaking highs, going down, collect investment, and go to the upside. So all this PA as well, it's quite nice to analyze it, comparing with this one, right? This one was the lower low from last year, and maybe now we have created the higher high of the year as well. So nice way how price moves. If you like to study these reversals, yeah, go analyze how it happened in the past, what clues you have collected, in order to start getting practicing to recognize those same patterns in the future beforehand. Yeah, so that's for the dollar. Let's take a look at the indices. And then feel free to ask any questions, guys. Do you also look at the dollar index or not? Right? That's always something that I like to find out. If you take advantage of analyzing dollar index, the main reason I do it is because it gives me a great overview of what to expect then from the major FX, because of all the correlation that exists with them. Sometimes you may see some individual currency pairs, for example, dollar yen for a long time hasn't been really connected with the dollar index. At this point, I think it is, right? When dollar yen was going, it was increasing, mostly because of how the situation with Bank of Japan. It was not as correlated as with dollar index, but since we had that shift, since the Bank of Japan finally intervened and we saw dollar yen again going down, it starts to behave a little bit more in alignment with the dollar index. And of course, euro dollar, pound dollar, euro dollar, pound, Aussie, dollar CAD as well. So it's I always like to analyze it. Okay, the indices, right? So if you have been watching the previous live streams, you have realized that especially on NASDAQ, I was looking for, or I could see the potential for price to go higher when I was making this retracement, and the main reason, as I mentioned before, it was this engulf to the upside, right? So this engulf of this high from this one, again, the same question, the same topic that I covered already during these last 2-3 live streams, the relation between engulfs and the scales that you are looking at, right? So we have the engulf to the upside. We had literally this high breaking this high on the left side. It didn't really broke this last extreme in here, but for me this was already the the high, right? I think if you go to the 4-hour, maybe daily, you clearly see that this high broke the kind of the daily high in there, and that's, for me, it's an engulf. It's a clear indication to the upside. As I mentioned before, there are a few ways that price then can behave. It could just break it, retest it, and maybe continue, and it just goes through kind of as a breakout setup, or it can take the orders. This is something that actually is more often than the other one, especially when it's the first time that you are breaking the high. So if it is a major high, kind of the high that created this vast wormhole, more often than not, when this high is broken, we see that's usually when you see the deep retracement start to happen, right? There's maybe a lot of orders above this high, a lot of liquidity which is important above this high, and this is kind of the confirmation that price, after breaking this high, that's a confirmation that price wants to go higher. However, if price just goes away like this, that's most likely a lot of orders that were left behind from the lows, and that's why usually you see the end retracement or the deep retracement happening to collect those orders that were left behind at the wormhole in order to go collect them, and now you are free to continue to move to the upside. Otherwise, it would be kind of a big loss if these orders, mostly all these in here, were left behind. The price wouldn't go and collect them. And then, as I mentioned before, there were another engulfs that can give the confirmation that maybe, yes, we are about to have this deep retracement. So there are some clues as well as price is going up to find out if we should expect a deep retracement or if we should just expect maybe retesting, for example, this demand zone and then going higher. So as price is behaving as it's approaching this level, it's important to be aware of that, because that can give you some clues of how should you expect price to behave after breaking this level, and should it now actually take advantage and maybe look for shorts after breaking this one or not. And if you do should look for shorts, what kind of targets should we attempt to? So yes, but overall, I was looking for this. For me was an engulf up. I was looking for the indices to go up. Personally, to be honest, I was looking for the CPI data for price during the CPI to go a little bit lower, at least until maybe not the extreme of this demand, but at least in here. I was actually looking for price to go a little bit there, and then do what it did. However, price actually just paused a little bit higher, so it didn't really got to the extreme that I wanted. But the overall move, it was done, nicely done. Actually, this was actually already a nice move up the day before. Kind of broke out the structure, price went down, and now the final push to the upside. You can also see that as price was going down, almost all of this has been taken. So this high had already taken that supply. Basically, this supply has taken that one, and this was the last supply that was left behind. So right, you can see basically somewhere in here was the last supply. This high never really touched that. So this was the last supply, and since this supply was broken on the way up, right? Price in theory should have done this. If you kind of draw it, kind of price should have done something like this, and then maybe go down. Since this one was ignored on the way down, on the way up, it becomes a really beautiful zone to work now as a kind of a demand zone, right? Kind of the same way that support becomes resistance and vice versa. Supply becomes a demand as well, right? So it's exactly what happened in here. So this becomes now a beautiful zone to look for opportunities to go long instead, right? So if it didn't work as a short, now it's a beautiful place to work as a long, and it just fake out even this guy in here, which is quite beautiful, and price just jumped through to the upside now, right? Another situation that it's important to analyze it, and actually one of the reasons I think we created now the wormhole for the year. I think price is ready to go. I think price is ready to go to the upside. I don't really know what kind of catalyst we still have until the end of the year, aside from the FOMC next month. However, the CPI data actually was quite positive, so you could see the reaction from the market. Even though with all that crisis that's going on with crypto, we can see that the indices are still behaved really positive to all the news with the CPI. So yeah, and that's going to be interesting to see now how the crypto swap is going to align with this with indices, or if by any chance now during these last maybe next weeks until the end of the year we're going to finally see some not correlated behaviors between crypto and the indices, because up until now it has been quite correlated during all this year. So another situation that is important to notice when you create this kind of behavior of this accumulation, and to find out if maybe if this actually is going to continue to go higher, or by any chance there's going to be some, I don't know, catalyst and price will just resume the move to downside, being this level kind of a good level to see if price respects or not, is as well how price is moving away, right? Is price creating any opposite level of structure as it's going up, right? So kind of for the same way that, for example, we had this supply that now maybe becomes a demand. This is a barrier. This is something that works as a barrier now, to instead of that kind of holds price to the upside. Otherwise price could just continue to go down and maybe find the next level, maybe this one, or if this one doesn't exist, now we need to kind of price would need to go even a little bit further down until it finds the next level of support in this case, right? So if you start having quite a few zones that can hold price up, that's also a good sign that more like most likely price will, maybe even if it retraces, it has a barrier to hold him and then to continue to go up. So that's also important to understand and to take a look at when you are seeing price finally moving away. Do we have those levels of structure to hold price up or not? If not, maybe price actually is about to still going all the way down, and then eventually we can even try to attempt to even fake out this wall. At this point, but for example, aside from this level, I can see that maybe we still have now this one in here, then we still have maybe some of this size, we have this demand, we still have even this extreme that price never went there, and then maybe even there. So we start having a few zones that maybe price can hold before actually continue and having that move to downside. Key level for now is this one. S&P reacted quite nicely when it reacted from this level. So at this point, NASDAQ is completely lagging comparing with S&P. S&P is trading already somewhere in here. NASDAQ just now finally kind of broke again this highs to the upside. So yeah, this level in here, it's going to be interesting to see how price is going to behave. A little bit close to that 12,000 mark. Can be one of the key barriers or key levels that many people are going to be looking at to see if it holds or if it breaks. If you do break this level, then I think there's the potential to go much higher. Now, looking at the highs, and maybe one thing that I want to be paying attention to is, yes, maybe until the end of the year, the same way that it took, come on, go down, the same way that took around since the end of August until middle of October, so that's kind of 1.5 months in there. Yeah, almost 2 months from the highs to the lows, and that's maybe why I could see until the end of the year maybe price can just be trading in between these levels, right? It doesn't even need to break the high again, but maybe just in between in here. Maybe going to have some kind of compression move going on around this level. Looking at the highs, I can still see some levels in here that can hold price. So there are at this origin of this move, the origin that created all this move to the downside. Maybe we can draw maybe this kind of rectangle to see it. Maybe that will be the attempt where maybe price is going to try to go to. And we may have a little bit of some supplies in there, but maybe somewhere in here is maybe now the next destination for NASDAQ. Now, comparing with NASDAQ and the S&P, it is comparing or analyzing the highs in here. NASDAQ, and in that moment when it occurred, I mentioned that it actually reacted from the supply level, right? From this kind of support resistance. I think we can even see it a little bit more to the left side. I think there's some other level. Yeah, there's even this one as well. Touch in here, another zone in there with the supply, and NASDAQ touched it precisely, right, just above this triple top. It was one of the levels that I was looking for when it had this rally in the summer. and price reacted perfectly in there. So NASDAQ did reacted from that supply level. Let me go back to the 1 hour. Why did I change this? S&P never did it. S&P just fake out the triple top, and it didn't really reacted from the supply. So again, what I want to say is I could see the scenario, and since actually S&P is actually leading in this move to the upside, I could see the scenario that S&P could still fake out this high to touch that supply, while NASDAQ could just behave still somewhere in here, touch it, and maybe go down from without breaking this this high, because there are still some orders in there that price can use it somewhere in here. I think that can be one scenario. Up until this point, maybe all this is compressed, starting from this level all the way down. So that could be kind of, after we kind of broke this high, this could be a good target, at least attempt to go above this level. Yeah, so what I mean on S&P is this scenario, right? So price just took this triple top in here, slightly fake out at level, took the orders and went down. It actually reacted quite nicely from this level in here. This could have been a great entry at that supply level. However, as you can see, the zone to the next supply is still there, it's still fresh, right? So this high never really touched it. So, and because of that, I could see the scenario where the price could go higher, maybe touch that one, fake out that high, and then maybe drop. So yeah, I could see a new high created on the S&P without the need to be created a new high on NASDAQ. And yes, S&P has been already much higher. If you almost took a Fibonacci level from this high to this low, we see that S&P is maybe at around the 60% retracement already, and NASDAQ is way below that. So yeah, nice reaction in here as well, good reaction, and the move to the upside. Let's see what's next in here. This level could be a good level to maybe for a trend continuation, somewhere in there, if that occurs. Yeah, that's it for the indices. I think we have bottom for the year. I think price could go and maybe just range a little bit for the next few weeks until maybe potentially we can take this high and go down after that. Yeah. Going back to the currencies. So another one that I like to look at is the Euro index. So Euro index has been working quite nicely, or moving quite nicely based on the predictions that we have done. Right, so it touched that supply level in here on the left side. Right, nice reaction. After that, it touched the demand zone that was fresh. We also predicted that. We had all this compression on the way down. Nicely done as well. So now we took the high, right? Price actually still reacted from the extreme of this level. But I think we are ready to go maybe and continue to move to the upside. From this level, price actually reacted during this drop in here. Reacted quite nicely from this level in there. It was kind of the beginning of this compression that we created in here. A nice reaction, price went up, and I could see now Euro index continuing to go higher. I mentioned that if we do break above this level, I could see maybe all this almost as being compressed, and maybe price attempting to target above or getting closer to these highs in here. Yep, I could see that happening. Eventually, it's not going to be just in a straight line, because if you actually pay attention to it, I think there's still some levels of supply, of some fresh levels above in here. So price can actually go and kind of move in a compression way, can keep going up and down, and not just like this. But yes, maybe targeting eventually above this high could be a good something that maybe could expect to happen. And that kind of reinforces as well that maybe euro dollar could also continue to move higher and the dollar to move a very bit lower. Let me just look at the bigger picture. What levels do we have in there? Yeah, we may have this one. Is this where price is reacting now? Yeah, price is reacting from it has been reacting from this level in there. We also have a little bit above it this one, so that's also aligned with this fresh supply that's in there. So let's see how price is going to behave from this level next week. Most likely there's a chance that price can have some kind of reaction a little bit to the downside, but eventually this one can also be interesting, and then eventually you can go higher and actually react somehow from this level. We may have actually kind of a TM in here in alignment with that level, which fake out this one, reacted from that one, and maybe this can be a good level to look for. And if you actually then continue, we may even take these highs out together and finally approach this level on the euro index, somewhere in there. Yeah, this actually looks quite nice, to be honest. Eventually, when price gets there, we have all these highs in here. Yeah, maybe reacting somewhere in there, and then maybe turning. That could be a good scenario. Yeah, this level is still fresh. Price never really touched it. So yeah, but there are a few zones that maybe price can react from in here. So it's another one that is quite interesting to analyze it. You can combine it with the euro currency pairs, not just euro dollar, but also euro pound, for example, euro Aussie, euro CAD, euro yen, and so on. Another one is going to be the yen index. As I mentioned before, I was looking for price to move to the upside. I was just not expecting that it would move so fast in there, but for me this was actually an engulf up. I mentioned that maybe price had kind of reacted from here, so maybe there wasn't that much more space in there, but overall this was a break to the upside. All right, so this was another engulf in here. We fake out this low, and I mentioned that I was looking for price to continue to go higher. To be honest, the yen pairs were one of the strongest moves that occurred during the CPI data. Not just the dollar yen in this case, but even the euro yen, pound yen, and so on. We could see that that strength on the yen. Yeah, not just against the dollar, but overall as a currency. So what's next? What's next in here? Maybe targeting somewhere in there. Could be a scenario. Yep. Maybe that could be a scenario as well. Maybe we have created the bottom on the yen, which kind of would mean the top on the dollar yen for the year. Yeah, maybe targeting that level could be something to look for. This is where kind of price is reacting at this point. It's a good reaction. Maybe just until here. Or let's see how price is going to behave between these two levels. And eventually maybe price, yeah, I could see price going a little bit higher all the way until there. So that's for the yen pairs, right? So maybe a little bit more to the upside, and then maybe we're going to have some reversal, and then we'll keep an eye to see how price is going to be moving. Yeah, so let's go back to the major FX now. Yeah, so major FX. Let's start with dollar, right? With the euro dollar. All right, so here we are, right? Yeah, since my prediction of this low, I basically predicted this low back in literally when price broke this low. It was the first time that then I looked left, tried to see where price could go to, and I predicted exactly that level where euro reacted from, which was below this level. So yeah, if we actually go back to my streams back in July, I predicted exactly price going to go below that level and to react somewhere from there. Yeah, so beautiful reaction from those lows. We are way above parity at this point. I also had mentioned before that where these highs kind of pause and move to downside, I was looking for price to at least to get a little bit closer to the upside. So that's why I was still bullish or looking for more bullish moves on the euro. That was the previous weeks. This week, as I mentioned, this small break to the upside, this for me was a big low. Just the same way that dollar index broke that low, this small break in here on the euro was a massive clue for me. I was indeed actually looking for a little bit more of a move to the downside, but this is actually the demand zone where exactly price touched it just before the CPI. So that could have been a great level, right? We have this double low created first Monday, then Tuesday, then price went up, and then Wednesday basically it just moved to the downside. On the way down, as you can see, is collecting basically every single supply that has been left behind in there. This one took that one, and it's ready, right? It's basically compressing on the way down. Even now this approach, if you go into the lower time frame, it's a little bit of a compression move, up and down, up and down, up and down, taking every single supply in there on the way down. Eventually it's free to move, it's free to completely break through. But this was for me the clue for price to go to the upside, where we have this fresh demand in here. It's kind of as simple as that. And that was my bias. For me, there was room for price to still go further up, and even to go and continue to go even further up above these highs. Yep. Overall, price is getting closer to this level. Hi GR, could you briefly give an explanation for the difference between a pullback and the reversal and how it influences the current bear market? That's a good question, right? Yeah, I got it. Are you talking about the indices, or are you talking any specific pair that you want to talk about? Because again, I'm looking, I don't even call it bear or bull market. I know that everyone kind of talks about it, and I think it's not true. My main way to look at the market is to try to find out where the space is. Now, of course, if I'm looking at the weekly time frame, and when I see space, the same way that, for example, on the euro dollar, looking at the weekly time frame, I saw space, especially when you're now in somewhere in here, all right, not in 2017. I was not kind of with so much with the same kind of knowledge that I have now. But yes, when I was in here, when price was in here during this year, I was bearish. Bearish because the main reason was because of the space that I could see. I could see that we had broken these lows. You can see that how this double top has been respected. So because actually this highs kind of respected that level and we never really broke it, so I was expecting for price to continue to go to the downside as price was approaching this low. This low also for me was already an engulf of this double low, and I don't really think that this low was reacting from anything in particular important in here, so I was actually looking for more move to downside. While on the other hand, this highs had actually reacted from this nice kind of level of support resistance. That's why I was bearish, right? Now, bearish on the weekly time frame, yeah, it may look like we are in a bear trend, right? What was the space that I was looking for? I looked at this scenario in here, and I didn't really like anything, so that's why I predicted that price wouldn't be holding price or this level in here eventually when it broke this low. another reason for me to be expecting to break this low is just even comparing with the correlation with dollar index. Dollar index had broken the same high that is related with this low in 2017, kind of 2-3 months before actually euro broke it. So there was already the clue by looking at the dollar index that this level it will be broken. It just, and the euro, it got respected initially in here one time, price retrace, and then eventually it took a little bit longer, kind of 2-3 months until it finally broke it. Where to, as I mentioned, I was not looking for anything in here. I could see some bounces, but I was not looking for price to actually pause in here and to go further down. Now, of course, this is a big question mark because this was parity. I don't remember like even euro even being below parity. So it held for a moment, it kind of had some reaction there until it finally broke through. But yes, I was looking all this time for price to go below this level, collect all the liquidity below these lows before it finally turned. Now, yes, I was bearish on that all this period. And now that price finally touched the level that for me, it makes sense. It kind of closes the space that I was looking for. And now I turned kind of bullish in this point, right? Maybe the market was still looking for or thinking in terms of bearish momentum in there for me on the euro, because the space that I'm looking for has been closed. I'm happy with where price is reacting from, and now I start looking for where is the space now for price to go to, now to the upside. So yep. That's usually kind of how I'm looking at the chart. I'm mostly looking for space. Of course, space in the weekly time frame. That's going to maybe last a few months to be completed, which maybe it's to a bearish market, kind of in the mainstream. However, yeah, that's basically how I'm looking at it. I can go into the worst time frames and continue just to look for space within that same time frame. Now, where is price going to? Yep, for example, this supply level, for me, it can be a key level in there. I'm looking at for price to go at least somewhere in there, because this was a supply that broke all those lows on the left side. So for me, this actually can be interesting, and just to take actually these highs in here somewhere in there, because this highs never reacted from that level. So that could be a good level. Now, if you're talking about the indices, yep. If you're talking about the indices, for example, just give me a second. Yeah, if you're talking about the indices, and what's the difference between a pullback and a retrace? Again, for me, the main difference is what space am I looking at that I want to see price going to. That's basically the question that I'm always asking myself to understand how deep of a retracement I'm looking for. Again, it would depend. It would completely depend on the time frame. If you are looking at this weekly, it may look like something. If you are looking at monthly, sorry, if you are looking at weekly, it may look something different. If you are looking at the hourly, just the exercise that I covered last week on the NASDAQ, this can be a great example. Let's ignore completely the time frames that you are looking at. Completely ignore that this is a hourly time frame or is a 4 hour. Completely ignore it, but just try to define the spaces that you see. Right? Let's just be precise in here. Right? If you start drawing some rectangles around in the charts, trying to understand if the levels are broken, that may lead you that it wants to go higher. Now, from here, price could just go up. On the opposite side, it could have a deep retracement, and this is maybe what you could see. Let's pretend that this is maybe the monthly chart. Maybe this move from here to here is what you are having now today in 2022. That's why we are in a bearish market, and all of a sudden now we are going higher. Is there any clue from this level that maybe price wants to go higher or not? Kind of that's the question. That's for me how deep of a retracement or continuation you're going to have. It's entirely based on what I see on the charts. Yeah, that's basically it. I shared a chart on S&P in January when we broke this low. That for me, we were in a bearish market. Not because we are in a bearish market, because everyone's saying, just because the key level that price broke, I was looking for price to feel out that next price. So this was the low, not just even this one, but this one. When we broke this low in here in the end of January, I was looking for price to start filling this one. As soon as price breaks this level, now I want to see price filling and completing out this compression. So yeah, it got to the end of the compression and now it's turning. I just focus on what I see on the charts and the key levels that in theory I want to see price filling. Like the space that is available for price to fill, and then depending on how price behaves at the extremes of those levels, then that is going to give me an information of maybe what to expect next. And that's basically what I'm doing, or the way I do it. Yeah, overall I can still maybe see this S&P to go a little bit further down, maybe to test this key level in here from the high of the COVID sell-off, somewhere in there. However, I'm happy with the compression that price kind of filled exactly during the CPI data last month. Price kind of completely filled that compression level that I was looking for, and it reacted from the other side. So that was something that I was looking for. So for example, when we had this low created in here back in July, I was always saying that I don't really think that this is the level where price is going to finally turn. I'm looking for more move to the downside, and that's why I've been always mentioning this was just a kind of a bullish retracement in a bearish market. Yeah, kind of still agree a little bit with that regard, but I'm a little bit happier with where this low is reacting to on the left side. So I'm not going to be so aggressive of trying to look for sales at this point. This key level in here, as I mentioned during this stream, I think it's quite important, and there's maybe something in here as well that I could see price going to maybe then continuing somewhere in here. So yeah, it's a little bit like that, the way I look at it. I don't really call it bearish or bullish, I just look for space in the market. And where is the space? Yeah, the indices I covered it already. Again, just as I mentioned in there, I'm looking for price to fill that space. I think now at this point the indices they may go, and the S&P may go and fill all the way until here, with the potential scenario of faking out this high, because this high in here never really reacted from this supply. However, on the NASDAQ, it actually reacted from that supply level. Therefore, I could see price still just respecting this high. So maybe a new high on the S&P, but not a new high on the NASDAQ. Because in here, actually, S&P, NASDAQ reacted from that level. You can see how NASDAQ is lagging at this point comparing with S&P. It's way behind. But yeah, maybe all the way until here. That could be natural target, but we have a few more zones to pay attention to. But for me, I think we have created the low for the year. We'll see if we did or not. I could still, overall in the bigger picture, I'm still looking for maybe more move to the downside as well. Like again, maybe targeting this one, but that may occur just next year now in 2023. Usually this last couple of months, historically, this last couple of months of the year, they tend to be bullish, and then maybe in January we are going to come back to the bearish momentum. So we will see what's going to happen in there. Simple. Yep. So yes, euro, as I mentioned, kind of that supply in there that created the move to the downside. I think it may be quite interesting somewhere in here. I think this is one of the levels that I will be paying attention to above these highs, and it's the key moment that finally managed to break all these lows back in 2017, this one as well, and so on. So there's maybe some opportunities to, there's maybe something in there to look for a sell. Of course, you can go even into the lower time frame. I don't remember now what kind of news, if there was any news actually for that to happen, or if it was just something. This looks like it was around the London Open at 8 AM back in 5th of July. Just a big sell-off that occurred in there. Don't really remember what was the reason for that. But yeah, maybe somewhere in there. Just trying to find out as well, where did those highs it reacted from? So this one's in here, reacted from that line. Maybe even before we get there, maybe there's something even aligned. So price has reacted already from this level. Maybe it's going to react now from somewhere in here. Just as a fake out initially. So price had reacted from here. There's maybe something somewhere in there, just for a small fake out of that level top, until maybe then we continue to go higher and maybe get closer to that level. That could be one scenario. One, yeah, nice one. So price had reacted from here. There's maybe something in there. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the euro is going to do. I could see the scenario of price retracing a little bit after we finally maybe take this double top. Until then, maybe we just continue. At this point, price closed the week with a reaction in there. I'll start following a few levels as price was going, as price was moving. So that's something that I try to start looking at it. For example, this demand zone, that this low, I don't know if you touch it, and it's aligned as well with the, oops, not this one. Somewhere in there, that could be interesting for the future, whenever that happens. Just to keep an eye on this level. That is also in alignment with this high that we broke in there. There's maybe something in here as well. So just start keeping an eye on some key levels that may be left behind. For example, this demand yesterday, this could have been a good entry in here. So price reacted from there. So that demand has been taken by now, and just continue to do the same exercise. We kind of already broke this low, so maybe eventually price wants to go a little bit farther below that level, maybe a little bit farther below, maybe getting closer to this level once again. So just keep an eye on this. Maybe there's still this demand in here below all these lows. Yep, just keeping an eye on that, and hopefully you can start eventually when everything is taken. Maybe you have a new low being taken, price may just go a little bit higher again, take out some highs. I don't mean that it's going to be from here, but eventually we can have that turn and all the way until maybe somewhere in here, or even a little bit farther below. And that's what you can see or can try to find as price is moving to the upside. Try to see how price is behaving, and eventually maybe there you go, right? So maybe filling out this price in here, and then maybe continuing to the upside, just retesting this previous level of these highs in here that you broke. In theory, kind of we should have respected and go down. We broke them, and I think we do have this demand zone quite nicely aligned with that. So this could be a good level to look for potential longs in the future. And if it's a good level to look for longs in the future, maybe when we turn can be a good target to look for ourselves in there. And then let's see how price is behaving in there. And there you go. And you could just trading stuff like this. If you do break above it, maybe there's an indication that price wants to go a little bit higher. So maybe actually you can look for something like this, and price can continue to go higher all the way maybe until there. Yeah, of course, the approach is going to be important, because there is even the scenario price maybe going a little bit further down, but why not respecting this level first? Yeah, so that's for the euro. Yeah, something in there eventually can continue to go higher. Let's see now until where we are going to go to. So yep, let's see, right? So usually as well, when you do break such an important low like it is now, so basically these highs are reacting from the previous level support resistance that we had in here. This was also something that we predicted when it happened. The price to retrace and to go there. You can see all this liquidity that is being created, all these highs. However, price just retest the previous level support resistance and it left the supply, right? So two key levels that usually price reacts from, it's either from the SR zone or then from the supply or demand that created that break. So those are usually two good levels to expect price to react from. So yeah, if price at this point just reacts from the SR and leaves the supply fresh behind, that could be a zone to look for in the future. If by any chance price goes straight away into the supply, it never really reacts from this level, maybe that's going to be the next level for the future. So don't expecting price to go higher again to here, but now to look for an opportunity in alignment with this level. There's maybe some supply that maybe be created as price, for example, price went up, it reacted from that level. As price is going down, maybe it's going to create some kind of supply in alignment now with these lines, and that's maybe where we are completely wrong. Second, and let me see if I can draw a straight line here. Yep. So this is maybe a good level to look for the future, right? If price had already reacted from the supply, so now on the reaction, price would react from there and maybe could continue, right? So yeah, one of these two levels usually. If it reacts, it depends where it reacts first. Yep. If it just reacts from this SR zone, you can imagine as well that now you can use this high as liquidity to go into that supply level and then price can turn. So it's just like almost no need to guess. It's just actually to see which level price goes to first and then kind of try to trade the second one whenever that happens. So that was for the euro. Again, the confirmation of the break of the high, it was there. The pound, a little bit similar. So on the scenario that I was looking for price to go still a little bit higher because it never really touched that level. So I was looking still to look for more longs, a little bit similar to the euro, right? So we kind of had all that same behavior. Actually, it was quite different because pound didn't really broke the high on Tuesday. It actually reacted from this beautiful supply that we had in there. But however, on the other hand, we did had kind of some level of structure. This double top in here, price broke through the double top. It created kind of a bearish momentum or bearish sign up for many people that they see now this double top, this double bottom being broken. So they completely turned bearish. All the way into where just the next demand zone. And after that, just continue to go higher, right? As I mentioned before, I like to see lows being taken and price has been respecting the extreme of those levels. So since there was no lows being taken, eventually I'm still looking for price to continue to be bullish. It respected as well the next demand level, it's respecting the next demand, and eventually just continues to go higher. Meanwhile, there was still space to go higher because this highs never really touched the extreme of this, and after that price could even continue to go higher. This was a zone that I mentioned in here, that I was looking for price to have some kind of reaction just above this size. Price actually reacted from there yesterday. I did trade at this level. It was a break-even trade. I missed my target for a pip or so. In here, I had my kind of target somewhere in there. So yeah, a little bit greedy on my side. Price just then continued. But you can see how nicely price still reacted from there in this 15 minutes, 30 minutes time frame. But yes, my momentum was still bullish. I was looking for price to go higher, but as I mentioned before, I'm a counter trend trader, so stupidity or not, I'm actually looking for sales as price is going up, and then I'm going to be looking for buys as price is going down. It's just yep. And as now price maybe retraces like this, and maybe you can find some good opportunity to maybe catch the move to the upside. Yeah, overall, for the pound, yep, maybe some reaction from here could be interesting. Let's see how price actually behaves in there. There's any kind of reaction, or maybe can continue to go higher, right? So huge reaction from here. This one, it was one that I didn't really manage to predict or whatever, because I don't even have the historical data to even look at it, right? So this is back like 30 years ago, 85 or whatever that is, where price is kind of reacting to on the left side. I have no data, I couldn't even analyze it, so it was a completely gamble to try to see where that low could be reacting from. Aside from that, all this prediction that we have been making during this last month has been kind of spot on. Yeah, so what's next? What's next for the pound? Where are you going to find the next level? That's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah, I could see maybe getting closer to here. So this is on the weekly time frame. Getting closer to this level could be an option, and after that maybe turning. I think this one, it may be done by now. I think maybe price could go, even though there's that kind of quasi-modo in there. I think price may just go higher. I think it may want to go to this level of structure in here that originated this move to the downside. I think that's maybe where price wants to go to. Price kind of already went up and kind of did this kind of breakout strategy, kind of, right, broke the high, retest the high and go up. That's kind of done in here in this case. So that's basically done. You start having this big compression in here, compressed in there. That one is there. Something price can easily go below this low eventually. This kind of starts a new level, and price could go touch this demand in there for the future. Another compression in there. Of course, we start creating new levels in here. It's interesting. Somewhere in there could be interesting. 1198, maybe 12. Getting to that round number, 1.2. Align with this low. Yeah, I think that eventually can be the target, or can be one of the targets for the pound. Yeah, to see how it's going to react somewhere in that level. I'm going to actually set up an alert in there. Yeah. Just want to see how price is going to behave within this KM zone. But aside from that, second. Of course, go into this. What kind of news event? This was during the speech, the August. Yeah, there's maybe something in here that price could react from. But aside from that, oh, there's maybe something in here still. That high never really touched it. So there's maybe something in there, just for the fake out of the high. Have some kind of reaction from here. Yeah, that could be a good trade, maybe faking out this high, reacting from there, and then going down a little bit until eventually can go there. Yeah, eventually could go all the way there. Yeah, but in here there's maybe something still. Check 1 minute. Yeah, Yeah, so this is the decision point. Price touched a little bit in there. This is a new one aligned with this level. Price goes down. Basically, this is where it's already reacting from. Yeah, so if you take a look on the left side, so where price reacted from, yeah, price, okay, you see. So this is actually a nice exercise to do, right? So that spike, it took this double top. It reacted from kind of the SR zone in here. There's even a small gap in there. And here, really the extreme of this one. So you have this imbalance to the downside. And then we reacted from here. And yes, at this point, we may have left these ones in here. And price could have some kind of reaction in there. After faking out that high on the left side. Maybe can even just be somewhere in here. So yeah, somewhere above that level can be interesting. I'm catching this one. Yeah, could be interesting. After that, we do have all these highs in here. Maybe something in here as well. That price didn't really touch it. And then this one, I think, has already been done. Go. And can continue. And you can continue to do that. Eventually, you are getting close to that level that we just talked about. This is the extreme in there. Yeah, and you can continue to do this exercise and try to pay attention to any key level in there on the left side that may be still fresh and price may react to. So yeah, just that small level above the high could be something, even above this compression as well. Maybe something above it, can something be there as well. However, any trade that I'll be looking in there, it's a little bit conservative in terms of I'm not going to be expecting too much of a target, unless price shows me that has been compressing already, maybe breaking some lows on the way up until eventually it can turn and I don't know, maybe target all the way back to here again. Okay, if you do have that scenario, maybe yes, maybe that can be quite a good trade. Yeah, that's actually a massive trade in that case. We can almost a 200 pips move. Yeah, so we'll see. But for now, conservative with any targets when looking for shorts. So that was the pound dollar. Overall, the rest of the pound pairs quite similar. Maybe a little bit fake out a little bit more in here into that level. I don't know if that pound yen has actually touched that level. We are having all this triple low, then we broke it and then we just fake out and we move to the downside. Yeah, so the move down, as I mentioned, on the yen pairs, it has been quite strong. Yeah, nice reaction from here so far, but I think price will eventually continue to go lower. Euro pound, yeah, got close to that level. I could see it going a little bit higher. Before that, we do have this break of this low on the way up, so that can be interesting. So I would like maybe to see price going a little bit closer in here to the extreme. So yeah, we'll see. I haven't really looked at the euro pound that much this week, so that's done. Let's take a look at the Aussie. So as I mentioned, the same thing with the euro. Aussie dollar was another one that the break of that high, for me, it gave me a really strong clue of what to expect and to move to the upside. And then we have all this compression on the way down, right? So again, if you see all this compression, I can actually delete this. Yeah, all the compression on the way down. So then price is free to just explode. Again, another exercise that you can do also is, so within this level, so when you have this, right, is to think of, okay, what are the key levels in here that are still fresh, right? Where are the supplies levels that are still fresh? That usually when you have these big news events, could be FOMC, can be CPI, can be NFP, can be like those big news events that maybe make price move that fast and strong in the one direction, is to try to find out where are those next fresh supply levels, for example. Right, for example, this one was one of them, right? So this high in here didn't really touch it, and this was one of the last supply levels that was fresh in here. Maybe at the extreme as well. The extremes are always important, and if you are aware of these levels, even if you don't manage to catch the kind of the trade from these lows, as price is exploding, as price is going higher, naturally one of the key levels that price more often than not is going to retrace to is exactly the levels that kind of they were still fresh and that they were ignored on the way up, right? Just as I mentioned before, I don't remember now which asset you were looking for, when kind of the supply eventually becomes demand. So if you are aware of this straight away, if you do miss the move, the trade from the lows, you can definitely start paying attention, have those levels identified, draw a line, and you can then, as price is retracing after the break to the upside, those are the key levels or key zones that you want to be paying attention to try to how could you try to be ready to catch that trade as price now is retracing. And if you do have the bias that maybe price wants to continue to go higher, kind of where usually price retraces to before then that continuation to the upside, right? So if we now analyze this level in here, maybe this was the supply, this level, right? There's maybe something in here, and then maybe there's something in there. So you have kind of maybe these three levels in there. You can see that this was one of the supply levels as well, but that one has been taken in here. In here maybe there was something as well, right? But you want to have those levels aligned. This one is not fresh anymore because it took this level, so this becomes one, and maybe something in there. And you can see, right? You can see that if you do have these levels, even all these with all these left shoulders as well. So if you are aware of those, of that level, that's where your focus should be immediately in terms of looking for that trend continuation setup after, if you didn't manage to catch the move from here, right? Again, if you actually had access to maybe 10 seconds chart, maybe you can even see in more detail exactly as price is touching maybe every single zone of those, right? For example, in here, as I mentioned, we had this supply level. If you actually align or set up an aligning there, you see that price still touched that supply level in here. It just retested immediately the previous level of supply that it was ignored, right? So this level of supply was not respected on the way up. This level was respected, but it just went all the way back to the next level that was ignored. So that becomes important, and price went up, and eventually it retested once again that same level that we noticed, right? At this point, we already broke the highs. So yeah, after breaking the highs, for example, price usually is going to have some kind of retracement until it pauses, and you can see that, right? So price goes up, it pauses in here, it starts creating this compression, and there you go. So this could have been one of the key levels that you wanted to analyze it, or that you wanted to already be prepared to look for maybe a trend continuation. Then of course it depends on the type of execution that you look for in order to then participate on the move. But if you are aware of this, like if you do think that price is about to explode and then to continue, be aware of those levels. It's something that can help you even beforehand. Just keep an eye on them. As price breaks through, keep an eye on them, set up some kind of alerts, whatever, just follow through. And if you see the rejection, then try to take advantage of it. There's maybe some like 2-3 levels maximum that price kind of could go to. Of course, eventually the retest of the higher high, it's an option, kind of these 2 levels in here. But yes, somewhere in the middle, that's usually when you see price retracing somewhere to and then going. For example, this level may be for the future. This could have been another one, right? So we have that support resistance in there, or that high. We have something in here. Now this can be for the future when we fake out these lows, whenever Aussie eventually goes to downside. GR is asking, is it possible to make an option by using Bitcoin current pricing? Most likely. To be honest with you, options is still not it's not something that I'm using. It's something that I will be trying to acquire more knowledge on and maybe create some strategies in the future. I believe that even based on the way I analyze the market, looking at these prices zones and so on, I think I actually could take advantage of some option strategies, especially in the longer term. Because kind of, for example, on the euro dollar, as I mentioned before, if I'm still expecting euro to continue to go down, of course, I just don't know when. Like the timing situation is a big factor, and the options is a big factor as well. But yes, it's for sure. It's something. It's going to be something that I want to be more experienced and to get more knowledge about in terms of any option strategies. At this point, I'm not really the best person to answer your question. There's for sure someone else more knowledge than me to talk about options. But yeah, it's a good question and something that I will try to definitely to work on, mostly for long-term plays that I'll try to start implementing as well in my own portfolio. Yeah, but it's going to take time. Yeah, it's going to take time to learn that. Actually, at this point, I'm quite busy. Start diving into options. Usually, when I start learning a new topic, I dedicate a lot of time. I kind of forget a little bit something else, and I may be obsessed. And at this point, I cannot. I'm not in a stage where I can just fully dive into options or try to understand them. But I know it's going to be. It's a difficult topic. Maybe not difficult, but it requires a lot. It has a lot of information, and yeah, in order to understand it and then to try to find a specific strategy that fits what I already do, it's going to be a challenge. And I like challenges, and I think it involves as well strategy, something that else I like. But yeah, it's for the future for me, for sure. Yeah, so this is Aussie. Where are we going to next? This looks a little bit compressed. We just took this high here. Yeah, I could see targeting these guys in there and eventually going a little bit higher, right? It's just the same way that the last few weeks I mentioned that I could see all this as being a good accumulation phase for the Aussie to start shifting to the upside. I think that's a scenario as well, right? Maybe actually I've found out I've created the low for the year. I still remember that. I still predicted this high since last year. Prices dropped all the way through since then. Yeah, another big situation for the Aussie as well. I think China is finally easing a little bit the COVID restrictions, so that could help as well Aussie, and yeah, the Aussie to go higher. So we'll see. I could see price going a little bit higher, maybe taking somewhere in there, even maybe targeting somewhere in here could be an option. However, same situation with the pound and the euro. The way prices been going up, it's kind of a little bit of a compression. I wouldn't be surprised if by any chance we do have a little bit of a retracement, if not tomorrow, if not Monday, maybe Tuesday, maybe a little bit of a retracement to feel maybe some of this price all the way closer again back to this stage. I think that could be eventually something to happen. Maybe targeting somewhere in there. because we do have all this compression. If you do breaks, for example, if you do break again these lows, and price can maybe retrace, and then maybe can have that that deep retrace until here, eventually maybe continue to go higher. This variant here looks nice as well. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to, that's one of the trades that I'll be focusing on for this week, when you do have that a little bit of that retrace, to catch the to catch that move to the downside on the euro, pound, Aussie, depending as well. Sometimes one of those pairs are going to provide me with the exactly strategy or execution that I like, and that's going to be the one that I'll try to take. Keeping an eye as well, that most likely that's going to happen when the dollar going to have some kind of a move to the upside. So that's going to be one of my focus for the beginning of next week. Dollar yen, here we go, right? So massive move to the downside. Actually, there was a beautiful KM zone in here. I was looking for price to go further down. I mentioned that I was looking at this for price to fill this this price. This break of this low was a big clue that price wanted to go further down, because this low initially was actually respecting a really nice demand. However, that second break in there, that's literally opening space. Price wants to go down. This could have been one of the targets. Actually, price, now that it completely broke this this demand zone with this kind of quasi model in there. I'm not sure if price had already retraced in there and touch it, so kind of it broke the downside, retested and touch it. There you go. Or maybe in the future there's maybe that play again. Maybe price will go again close to this level and react again from it, and maybe go to the downside. Meanwhile, we do have a few key levels in here that maybe price wants to go to. Right, nice fake out of this one, respecting this one. Something in here, I don't know if price touch it. There's maybe something in there that price can go to as well. One of the other levels that I was looking for on the dollar yen, it's maybe this one in here, this 13767. So below this low, yeah, below this low is where I'm looking for at this point. Yep, we have a little bit over that level. Where was it? In here. So this could be, we are that close. Maybe some reaction in there on Monday. Price retrace a little bit and then maybe just continues. Maybe next level, maybe something in here, or even something somewhere in there. And with the potential for price to, yeah, we'll see. I think if you go to the higher time frame, you may have some level of support resistance. Maybe not that much. We are on a weekly, right? Weekly 135,528 maybe. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. On the monthly, right? And this was another level that I cannot even show it in here. I need to go to trading view. I don't even have the data. So it was a beautiful quasi model level where this eye reacted from. It was another level that I kind of predicted. When we broke that high, I did the exercise of trying to find maybe 2-3 levels where the yen could react from, and it reacted precisely from one of them, aligned with the left shoulder from, I don't know, 30 years ago or something like that. So the levels still work even if they are from 20-30 years ago. Yeah, maybe some reaction from there. I could see that happening. Price again a little bit similar. It may be compressing a little bit. There's maybe some still orders in there that price can go to. Then eventually can go to that level above these highs. So yeah, we'll see how price is going to open next Monday. Hopefully without that many gaps, because sometimes price just create a huge gap, go to where I wanted, and the move is done just by even the opening. So hopefully price doesn't create any big gaps on Monday, and it just opens naturally until it moves to. So yeah, dollar yen finally is being tradable. I was looking for some trades as well in here. euro yen. Yep, euro yen again, really strong move to the downside on the yen pairs, which kind of represents a strength on the yen pair on the yen, as we saw before. I had this one is going to be one of the biggest moves for this month. I got stopped out in here. That was massive. Personally, I actually wanted to see the fake out of these highs with this spike, so that never happened. I was looking for that to move a little bit above this kind of double top. On the yen, I had identified this move to the downside. Again, look for break of the lows on the way up. We even broke kind of this one, and we just reacted from that level. So that was done in there. So we did break it. Start to show indication that price want to go down. You can see how price starts to shift a little bit in here. We have all this accumulation of highs, so there's no surprise that this fake out, literally this spike up and then move down, that is occurred. We already have the indication where price wants to go next, so it's just a matter of time of when or how price is going to collect that liquidity. However, I did wanted to price to fake out also this double top. It didn't, it just fake out this one. So I was looking for price to go a little bit higher. That never really happened. And after that, eventually price just crashed, right? It just moved down. But again, as an example, if you see price moving like this, like price breaking this low, it's a big clue that you should pay attention to. Question mark would be then, and where is then price going to turn from, right? It's just like this, or it will go a little bit closer to this level. It was another zone that I was looking for. So as you can see, I have these two lines which kind of alerts. One of them was exactly to break off these highs, which never happened, and the other one, it will be somewhere in there to look for, right? Just the same way that that euro yen kind of just fake out these ones in here. It even then fake out something else on the same day. That's when it corrected my stop loss. So yeah, massive move, goes down. This was a demand zone that was in there. Price now respects on the opposite side and continues to go down. Next level, maybe somewhere in here for the euro yen, with the scenario that even can take eventually this double low, maybe respect a little bit that level. That could be one scenario. Yeah, there's maybe some order somewhere still in here for eventually when price decides to go up. But let's see what's going to do. And one of the reasons that I mentioned that it was a really strong move on the yen is we saw that euro, for example, it moved really strongly to the upside during that CPI data. We saw that the dollar moved down, right? But the direction that we saw happening on the euro yen was actually to the downside. So in this case, we can see how strong the move on the yen was, because the yen completely was much stronger than the euro. And that example is the euro yen move that we had. And you can also check the pound yen as well, for example, right? Yeah. So is there anything in here? All these big spikes? Is price going to continue to move to the downside? Basically, all the move that I was looking for since the reaction from that level. It was another one that you predicted on the euro yen, right? Just above this level. We predicted as well that level in the stream. Actually, price just got a little bit shy from the supply that I was looking for, but it faked out that high that I had in here. And that's, as I mentioned, a massive level usually. If you want to pay attention to big reversals, that's the zone, right? Exactly where the end reacted from, and all of a sudden we have that big drop caused by the Bank of Japan. However, the reaction, the level itself, it was already even predicted beforehand. So yes, I was looking for a massive reversal on the yen at that point. Yeah, then all this behavior again, another really beautiful price action to study. How price kind of moved away from this level. You can see that we had broken already this low in here, giving indication that we wanted to go farther down. Price just retraces it one more time, just fake out this level, and then it drops. So nicely done. Price is almost getting close to that level, and we'll see what's next. yeah, maybe some reaction from here can be an option. Eventually we can continue to go further down, right? So the big moves have done. Hey Muzani, welcome to the live stream, man. How are you? Yep, Euro Yen, it's done in there. Dollar CAD, yep, dollar CAD is just another one. It's more of the same. Interesting how price managed to hold that level just before the CPI. Again, the confirmation that we created in there, all the move in there. This was predicted 2 weeks ago, before it happened. Next level, as I mentioned, one of the key levels that I was looking for, it was below this low. Price did reacted from there on Tuesday. Then price retraced and took these highs, and now it dropped. So that level in here below this was, it actually was respected. Next level, that one of the targets that I was looking for price to go to after the turn, it's actually kind of somewhere in here. We do have all this level of structure in there. These lows never really touched it, so at least some reaction I could see happening in here. Otherwise we can just even continue to go down, maybe somewhere to the next demand zone could be an option. But yes, somewhere in here I think that can be a good level for price to go react to. Again, we can start seeing a little bit how price is compressing on the way down, right? So maybe eventually when it turn, there's a chance that we can maybe fill all this space until maybe somewhere in here or even somewhere in there. All right, just taking these highs and then maybe can continue to go to the downside. That could be an option. But yes, if you do find that opportunity, a little bit similar to what I mentioned on the euro, Aussie, pound, eventually there's going to be, I believe, that retracement happening this week. If not tomorrow, if not Monday, maybe Tuesday. Maybe after price finally gets to this level, we're going to have, yeah, maybe price is going to do something like this, continue to go down, and then maybe touch it in there, now break the high, and now kind of turn it, and are free to go at least until there. Maybe that can provide us with, yeah, maybe 100 pips move, or even a little bit higher, closer to that level. So yeah, eventually we could see that happening. Eventually I could also see this, all this level being broken. The price going a little bit further down. Yeah, finally, man, finally got me here. How was your week? Did you got any trades from the CPI? And any specific pair that you are looking at? Yeah, so that's cut. Price is getting close to that level. Eventually, we're going to see how price is going to behave. And this is dollar franc Swiss, which was the next one, right? So again, dollar franc Swiss, we have been analyzing it since price was here. It has been almost precisely in terms of higher time frame analysis. I saw these lows in here as an engulf down when they occurred. I was looking for, yeah, that sell that was initially from FOMC, I believe. Then we had the interest rate decision and Switzerland National Bank as well. Big drop, another break to downside. My target all this time was below this level into here. Price actually got a little bit shy from the demand zone. Maybe that's where price may go to. Maybe can have some reaction now from the demand, since never really reacted from there, just reacted from the SR zone in here. So that has been my target all the way till here. If it's a good target for the sales, most likely it's a good zone to look for longs. Price went up again, beautiful reaction. If you zoom out a little bit, you're going to see why, right? You can see that we had all these highs in here, maybe a little bit similar to what I mentioned on the dollar yen. We have all these highs. These highs never touched that level. We have all this structure underneath that level. You can see all this accumulation of highs in there. As you can see as well, so many times on this dollar franc Swiss, anytime price gets closer to this level, above parity, more often than not, there's a big push to the downside, right? Push downside, push to the downside, push to the downside, push to the downside. It just happens. Kind of anytime price eventually gets close to that level, just expect a rejection again. Price doesn't really look like to spend too much time in there, and you can see that happening, right? But overall, just looking at price action, we could see that we had all these highs in here. They never really took the orders from there. So there's this beautiful zone in here where price reacted from. Again, then what we have in the lower time frame, this was predicted weeks ago. We had this one. This is an engulf to the downside again. This was an engulf to the upside in here from this high. So in the shorter term, price wanted to go a little bit higher. Bigger picture, price wanted to go farther below. This initially could have been one of the targets. Price still bounced from there, just same way that from the cut that I mentioned. That was the demand zone that most likely price would like to at least touch it. But at this point, the shift was completely down. And yeah, nice reaction from there for the CPI. Was not really looking for price to behave in there. And all this actually, it looked like it has been taken. Price had already taken the demand from this low. Yes, I could see price going down, and I've been paying attention to this demand in here, but price can actually eventually go maybe somewhere in there or even farther down. So there's a potential for maybe a little bit more move to the downside. And in reality, if you do pay attention to it, maybe now looking at actually at this bigger picture, maybe this one actually is already a breakdown from this low, and price just going all the way back to the origin to now maybe make all this move to the downside. Is this going to happen? We'll see, right? So this was back in 2021 or beginning of 2021. It's a nice origin, right? It's fresh. If this was a 5 minutes chart or 15 minutes chart, maybe that would be one of the scenarios I would like to see price at least taking this low and maybe react from maybe these left shoulders now underneath this low. So yeah, if you do consider that, or if you think about this chart as a lower time frame one, maybe 5 minutes, I think I could see that scenario. I think I could see price going all the way down until finally taking this one. This looks compressed, to be honest. Maybe some reaction still from this demand in here below this low. So actually I can maybe draw something in here for this low. Yeah, maybe some reaction here can be quite nice to see. Taken, maybe something in there. So yeah, of course, I don't know when this is going to happen. We are looking at the daily time frame. This can take months. We'll see what's going to happen. I have no clue in terms of when it's going to happen. But I could see that scenario of maybe this low being the target from this move from here, and price maybe filling this space now. Especially if you do break then below kind of maybe this low, or yeah, maybe this low, which kind of opens out this compression. Yeah, maybe, of course, maybe first some reaction still below this low in there, something in here, until eventually price goes a little bit further down, something in there. Yeah, do you agree on dollar franc Swiss, right? Yeah. Literally, if this was and sometimes that's the exercise that you need to do, and this mindset shift that we kind of need to do. Because I do believe that price still behaves all the same way, and even the the question that you asked me about pullbacks or reversals in the bigger picture. Again, like now this is our franc Swiss. This could be one of those scenarios. This price I can see now on this daily or monthly or weekly time frame. It's literally for a potential move all the way back to here. So yeah, because this may take a few months to complete. Maybe yeah, call it bearish market for the next few months. Maybe on the dollar franc Swiss, the same way that maybe it was a bullish market during all this year, right? And can you see the confirmation as well? This is one that I paid attention to. The break of this high in here. This is kind of gives the clue that maybe you are about to make this happening, or at least until here. Yeah, right. So we do have that information. So if you are aware of this, maybe you could shift for a bullish market on the dollar franc Swiss all this time. However, we do have this engulf down as well, and again, it goes with the difference between scales, engulfs, and scales, and what you can see in there. So yeah, price will tell you a little bit of when it breaks some levels of structure. Price is actually talking with you to tell us maybe where it wants to go next. Yeah, so key points now. Let's see how price behaves somewhere in this level, somewhere in here. If you do break below this level, you start going into here. There's maybe still a potential for the retrace. Maybe take now this previous level of support resistance and go down. We do have also all these lows in alignment, so that could be eventually something for price to go to. Of course, at this point, our friend Swiss has been super moving down in a really strong way. So yeah, some key levels in here. Yeah, price kind of will need to slow down a little bit, right? Moving way too fast at this point. And eventually going to create some kind of structure somewhere in there, kind of some structure in here, and then eventually it's just going to maybe continue the move to the downside. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I like this level. For example, I may like something in here as well. Not sure if this will have taken that or not. So I may like a few of those levels for a potential reaction. Now we are on the H4 or even daily, which means that on an intraday level, there's maybe a good opportunity to find for price in there. Yep. Yeah, it was a really nice touch from the origin, right? Yeah. I just didn't like, to be honest, the second double top today. It was exactly from here, right? You can see how beautiful this level is. This is literally kind of a decision point. We just broke this low and price retraces. Decision point in here goes down. We can see how we accumulate all these highs in here without any of them making this move up to collect the orders. So all these orders in here, they were left behind, and it's just a beautiful move. And if you find this level, if you find this specific level at the line in alignment with at the higher high of a move, just analyze Euro Yen, where Euro Yen is reacting to on the left side, the higher high of the Euro Yen, and you're going to find exactly the same situation. You're going to find some level of structure. So we create the high, create a little bit of a zone in here, and then you have the drop, right? So this becomes kind of the decision point in there. And when price retraces, instead of going there as it should, now what it does is kind of pauses, and now it creates a lot of structure in here. It goes down, and there you go. And now we have this space. So we have all these highs in here. We have the space towards there into this origin. Now you are going to be super frustrated in the moment. What I mean by that is, if by any chance you are looking for a sell in here, when these highs are being created, you are going to be frustrated because price will never go there and collect your orders. However, in the future, whenever that may be, on the dollar franc Swiss, this level was created 10th of May in 2019. 3 years later, price arrived there, right? So whenever that may be, whenever, like, I don't know how long it's going to take, eventually, when price now retraces, this is going to be a massive key level to look for a trade somewhere in there. Now, I don't know if price will make such a big move as this. However, even in the when it goes there, there's still a massive opportunity. Even if price just makes this move and stops in here without making all the rest, this is already a massive move in there. So yeah, analyze these levels at a higher high. Let's see exactly where it goes to. This is a massive trade. If you catch these trades in here, it's one of the best higher time is one of the best reversal setups that you can collect. Since I'm talking about Euro Yen, just to see what I'm saying, what I mean. This one. right? We have all these highs in here. This is the higher high. This is a new level of structure, and we accumulate all these highs in here. Right? You have all this level of structure, all these highs to be taken out, to be faked out, and where this price goes to, just goes into this supply level that is fresh, and the rest is history. Right? The rest is history. Price just reacts from there and kind of drops. I think it's somewhere in there. Yep, and you can see how big of a retracement we have. I think Aussie yen is just made something similar from here. Right, again, just to make sure you guys see it in here. Right, so bigger picture, this is what you can see. We have this higher high as well being created. There's a high in here that never touched it. Actually, it's this one, sorry. Yeah, we have all these highs being accumulated in here. This is one of the decision points in there, aligned with this left shoulder. We have so many highs in alignment in there, break out that level, and it drops. So find that level of structure that is just underneath and really important level. Break out those highs, especially if the highs are visible on the weekly time frame, monthly time frame. That just makes the high even more interesting to be faked out. In this case, you can even see it on this weekly wick, and there you go. And you have a massive reversal. Now those levels. All right, that was our franc Swiss. That's done as well. Move is done. Of course, you can then pay attention to, yeah, what I was about to say is I didn't really like that it reacted to the pip, kind of that double top. I don't like to really trade double tops like that. So yeah, at this point, if even price had fake out a little bit this high, I think I would have preferred it. In this case, I decided to still respect that kind of high to the pip in there. Yeah, it can happen. I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest, but it's okay. Yeah, that level is safe for monster traders. In terms of target, like, how do we know? You can that level alone, for example. I would be looking for a trade in there either way. Then yes, depending on how big of the move it can be. Yeah, if you do your analysis, for example, where is Aussie yen? For example, Aussie yen. So this is what you can see on Aussie yen until price finally reached there, right? So you start having quite a few highs as well being created more recently, without even looking at what was created on the left side. And if you start analyzing everything, you can see this compression. You can see price going up again in compression. You can see already price taking some lows on the way down, on the way up, which again something that I mentioned that I like to see happening. Price starting to take lows. So eventually, if you see all this kind of approach, even some highs in here, yes, that can help then to define or to start looking for a massive, like what target could you be looking for here? Maybe one target could be this level, retesting of this level in here. All of this look has been taken by now, compressed. So maybe beginning of this low. After you break below this low, eventually you can attempt to look. This one has already broken that level, so even go further down. All of a sudden you are looking for this demand zone, to be honest. So at least from here, after breaking that last low, you can maybe start to look for a reaction at least all the way until here. Because how this is compressed, maybe one of the targets could be here, final target all the way until here, and eventually maybe you can break it. But at this point, until we break this low, there's no confirmation that price wants to go down. So yeah, somewhere in here below this one, somewhere below this one and here, you could look for that target. Again, the massive zone where price is reacting from, it helps to define, yep, maybe price is about to actually fill out that space. So yeah, it's kind of a combination of all the scenarios, right? How price is approaching, what kind of target is it available, and is price now reacting from a really good level on the left side that maybe is about to turn. So yeah, in that regard, yeah, just combine all the analysis that you usually do to look for it. Yeah, no, dollar franc Swiss. Yeah, right. For example, in this case on dollar franc Swiss, like the massive trade at this point, you can even look at this one. Yeah, this may be actually an engulfed downside. So this just becomes a really massive, an important level to look for, and maybe yes, maybe we're going to actually go and take this one eventually. Let's see if we do it or not, but that could be a possibility in there. Yeah, basically that's it, guys. It's been almost 2 hours. I'm kind of starving by now. Crypto is just yeah, just going down. At this point, I think, or I would like to see crypto, and actually that has been my higher time frame view since beginning of the year, basically, that I was looking for, or I'm looking for eventually Bitcoin to attempt to get to this 13,900, maybe close to 400, somewhere in here. I think where price is reacting now, it's reacting somewhere in here. This looks like a little bit of a compression zone already. Yeah, something in here. I can see this. Second, Jesus. 1 second. I can see that this week maybe it was still fresh a little bit, but I think I would like to see price kind of going all the way back out, filling out this space, going below this low, and maybe reacting somewhere in there with the alignment of this low. On the other hand, I still like as well this kind of 12,000 or 11,800 level, somewhere in there, a little bit closer, could be another option. Maybe taking this level. So we have first this one above it, and then maybe the other one a little bit underneath it. And as I mentioned, looking at the weekly time frame or even monthly, that's actually kind of the demand zone that created the break of not even just this high as well as this high. So this is kind of the demand zone that managed to break all these levels of structure on the left side, and I think that's kind of a natural zone to look for. Maybe some reaction from here first, as I mentioned, in alignment as well a little bit with this high in here, and eventually can go to this weekly demand. This is if you kind of ignore someone just subscribed, so thank you very much, guys. Thank you for subscribing. If you do ignore that uses Bitcoin or whatever, if you just look at the monthly chart, I think most of us would agree that most likely price would get closer to this level. However, because it's Bitcoin, everyone gets too emotional about it. There's a lot of conversation about it. So yeah, maybe yeah, that's why kind of people may try to look at different things. Personally, without being too much attached to this, I think Bitcoin eventually can go that wide, to that side. Nice reaction in here, even from this supply level on this daily time frame. Price just smashed it through in there. So all this has been taken, all these lows, with a little bit of a compression, completely smashed it through. This demand zone was one of the fresh levels that was still fresh. I believe that when price went down, it actually retested that level on the way, right? It actually reacted from it first. So this was one of the demands that I mentioned. Price still reacted from there. It took the demand and then just dropped, and that's it. So let's see what's next for crypto and how this and Bitcoin. hopefully you guys that lost some of maybe your capital with this FTX situation. Yeah, I think you're going to be able to learn from all this situation and come back stronger. That's my wish for all of you that may be affected with this FTX situation, right? So hopefully in a couple of years we're going to be laughing about this situation and not in a good way. And it's going to be a story that maybe you're going to be able to tell to all of your friends in years to come with a smile on your face. Ethereum. So Ethereum, on the other hand, it has been moving quite higher than Bitcoin, so it was a little bit farther away from the lows. And I mentioned when we were here in the summer, not summer but September, I mentioned a few times that for me it didn't really make that much sense that price would react from this level if the intention of Ethereum was to go and kind of break the highs and continue now to move to the upside. I didn't really think that this would be the level. I think that price would at least want to go a little bit farther below, at least towards to this level, which is actually so I wanted to see first Ethereum touching these lows before maybe thinking about going all the way up. So yeah, there was a little bit of reaction to the upside. Price reacted quite nicely from this level, a level that we talked about last week, that we had this move a little bit to the upside because these highs never touch it, but now there was a little bit of space in there to be filled, and it was filled with this high. Yeah, after that the rest is history. Price just dropped right during this week. And yeah, so at this point I kind of like a little bit more where the lows are reacting from on Ethereum. So I would be okay seeing price going a little bit higher, but without this situation we'll see what's going to happen next, right? And until what point, one of the, for example, situations that I want to start seeing in the next few days, weeks, is how correlated the crypto is still going to be with the indices, right? We are seeing the indices going to the upside. However, we do have all this situation with in the crypto market. So yeah, that's kind of interesting to see what's going to happen next. Oh, yep, we'll see. Personally, I still believe that Ethereum is going to go a little bit farther down. I do have these gaps in here. The gaps doesn't exist, it's just on this exchange. Yeah, going a little bit farther down, I think that's my point of view, because I see this one actually that engulfed by a couple of points this low. You can check it on the trading view. So overall, I think this is still an engulf to the downside until maybe the next level. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me. I hope you guys managed to learn something or to find some key levels to get some ideas to look for next week. So a little bit more weakness on the dollar, and eventually I'm expecting some kind of retracement to maybe fill this space in here that we have created during this last day. Maybe just to clean this bullish candle that we had, right? So on the daily, on the euro, for example, maybe you can just kind of fill the space of this daily candle, and maybe then we are ready to resume the move to the upside. That could be one scenario. Do have still this zone in here. I think eventually I'm going to be trying to pay attention to the precise moment when you're going to have this retracement to collect all these orders, all this space in here around maybe 100 pips, 150 pips. We'll see. It's going to be one of my main focus for next week. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you next Tuesday for another live stream. Bye bye. Thank you, and yeah, see you next time. Obrigado.